Right. Boom. Sniper Sports. We're back. Live from the 808. We shoot you straight. NFL. Steven, we're finally winding down to the end of the season.
Yep. Yes, we are.
Week 18's upon us.
Mm-hmm.
All the matchups are in division matchups, and a lot of these have big playoff implications. We're just going to talk about some of the games coming up in Week 18. But before we do that, we'd like to quickly just recap some games from last week. Week 17 over the holiday weekend. And I want to start with I guess the big game was Baltimore and Miami in Baltimore. No secret, Baltimore put up a ton of points. Lamar Jackson looking like every bit of the MVP this year. They hung 56 up on the Dolphins. Dolphins come up short. Not only did they come up short, I was very disappointed as a Dolphins fan to hear Bradley Chubb out for the year. With an injury. He got hurt late in that game. Really should have been taken out. But let's talk a little bit about this game and what you saw there and what you see going forward for both these teams.
Man, I thought you just saw the Ravens just really put an exclamation mark on their season and what they're doing and how great Lamar Jackson is.
Yeah.
Let's remember that basically 31 other teams passed up on him. They didn't want to take him. He was a free agent in the summer, and no one really went after him. No one tried to contact him, it seems, and he's there
Waiting forever to get that contract.
Exactly. Defensively, they look good. They just look they're all on the same page. They know what's going to happen. They're communicating with each other, which I think is a big thing. I think you don't see that too much anymore. They're not making mistakes like other defenses. Lamar's really settling down. Flowers is becoming the receiver that they hoped that he would be. Explosive, fast.
Yeah.
Put him in the right situations. It seems their new offensive coordinator, him and Lamar are getting along great. They understand how to put themselves in the correct situations as well.
He's also starting to use that tight end Isaiah Likely a lot more.
Exactly. This thing on all levels are just, his numbers aren't going to be amazing, but I think he gets the job done with winning. They're a defensive team always, I feel, and they just be able to continually move the chains, run the ball, get those little extra yards. The defense puts them in great situations like you saw the other week against San Fran.
Right. Causing the turnovers, 4 interceptions from Brock Purdy.
Yeah, Ravens just looked amazing. With the Dolphins, on the other hand, I still think they're trying to find their identity. They're trying to find what works best for them. What I mean by that is that fast-paced offense works good. It works well. But I don't think it's a longevity thing. I think we've seen that so much before from a Chip Kelly from Oregon. It's so hard to maintain that and to just be truly effective from start to finish with that kind of offense. So I think hopefully in the offseason they can get together, find their identity, whether it's more running, more just quick, get the ball out of Tua's hands, old Patriots, Tom Brady kind of thing where you're just getting the ball out quickly.
Yep.
So that's what I see from the two teams. It's just statements from this game. Ravens said that they're on their way to the Super Bowl. Dolphins are, we're going to take a learning lesson. Let's get the division championship, make the playoffs, hopefully win a playoff game, but they're not ready to move on. I'm sorry to say it.
Yeah. No, I agree, Steven. I could be an honest a Dolphins fan here and Tua fan. They're making the right strides, but it's kind of like a recipe that you have, and there's just something not quite right, something missing out of the ingredients. Miami's looking to take that next step in the right direction. On the other hand, for the Baltimore Ravens, as I said earlier, Lamar Jackson, is looking like every bit of the MVP this year, playing a clean game, not turning the ball over. I'm watching him throwing from the pocket. He's not running much. And what's funny, for somebody who doesn't run much, he still has over 800 rushing yards with 5 touchdowns. But he's not turning the ball over, Steven. He's hitting all his targets. As you said, they seem to be on the same page with the coordinator. But the biggest thing I liked is after the game, Lamar was so locked in. He didn't get too high on the win, and the 5 touchdowns that he just threw against Miami, he was really locked in. He knows he's come up short in the playoffs in years past. And I just think you're seeing a very focused, a very determined Lamar Jackson and Baltimore Ravens team. What more can I say? I mean, what more do you want? when they're winning, they're not just beating the good teams, they're blowing them out. I mean, look at some of the scores and some of the good teams they've beaten this year, whether that be San Francisco, Seattle. They've really handled their business. The only two of those losses coming to division opponents in Cleveland, which was a late debacle there late in the game, and also the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I think their first loss of the season was against the Colts in overtime, which was also on a turnover. Nonetheless, I'm just saying that the Ravens have been handling their business all year. They're going to be the team to beat. Dolphins need to continue making strides, make a step in the right direction. As a big Dolphins Tua fan right here out of the 808, I think he's had an amazing season, throwing for almost 4,500 yards, and they've done some great things this year. Hope they continue to do that and maybe win a playoff game. But yeah, that's what I saw from that game. Going to the other game last week that I saw that I'm a little concerned about, the Philadelphia Eagles.
Oh.
The Philadelphia Eagles lost to the Arizona Cardinals. And we were talking about it on the show just a week or two ago where, Philly, after they lost to Dallas, they had the New York Giants, the Arizona Cardinals, and the New York Giants again to finish the season. And me and Steven both agree that they should probably win out and go into the playoffs and get this thing right. But I don't know, Steven, what is wrong with the Philadelphia Eagles. The very thing that they used to do so well, which was finish games close, they're not. They seem to be just losing them now. Jalen Hurts hasn't been as careful with the ball, even though he had a clean game this past week. And the defense keeps giving up major points late in the game. Keep collapsing when they have a nice lead. I can't quite put my finger on it, but if you're a Philly fan, you can't feel good about how they're going into the playoffs.
Definitely. I don't think you should be feeling good, especially towards the end of the season. This game was amazing to me because they were up. They looked like they were going to win this game easy, probably clinch the division.
Yeah. And
they fumbled this game at the end of the game. I agree with you with Jalen Hurts. I mean, he's like a Lamar to me, where I don't know if he's gonna do things to make you win. That's how I feel with Jalen Hurts. He's just gonna make good throws. He's gonna make great throws. He's not your typical, I guess you could say, quarterback, but I like what he can do. There's one thing that I'm confused about, as we talked about, was with AJ Brown a couple weeks ago or midseason.
Right.
He's over here setting records, and they're just abusing the defense with him. Just giving him the ball, and he's making these great plays. And
such
now,
a physical player.
Yeah, now you don't really hear anything from it. The defense has been lacking tremendously, giving up big plays, comebacks, and it doesn't want to point to it to where I don't want to point to a player, but maybe it's the coach. What I mean by that's why I brought up the coaching in for Baltimore. You look at John Harbaugh, how long he's been there. Just the coaching seems to be like they're taking every little aspect of the game, communicating, hey, you got this, I got this. They just look confused, and that's what some defenses look out there. Oh, I thought you had this coverage. Oh, I thought you had man-to-man. I thought this was happening.
Right.
They just look very confused, and maybe it's on the coach, Nick Sirianni. Maybe he's just not finishing things in practice. I think that's just a reflection of coaching, of what your players do. If the coach says it's okay, then why should it not be okay? And it just seems like it's just perpetual and it's caught up with them. So
yeah,
very
well could be. I mean, that's what they say at the end of the games. Hey, I didn't have my team prepared, and that's what it's looking like lately.
Very much prepared, or pay attention to detail. So yeah, that was a big shocker for me for Philly. I thought they had that wrapped up. And
right.
I was kind of keeping tabs on it, and wow.
Yeah, Stephen, with that being said, that leads us into our Week 18 games, and Philadelphia is going back to play the Giants, which they played 2 weeks ago and just kind of squeaked by. In fact, Philly has lost 4 out of their last 5 games, and they just barely got by the Giants this past week. So, I mean, for them to go in and have to play the Giants again, it's not a gimme. It's going to be a tough game, but I think it's very important that they get a win and, a mistake-free win. A win that can make you feel good about going into the playoffs. And as Steven mentioned, start utilizing A.J. Brown, who was so dominant at the early of the year. Start seeing that defense, stop guys, get those 3 and outs as they were so early in the year. So that's going to be, pivotal for them to make any kind of noise in the playoffs. But as we look at right now in the NFC, they're definitely not a team that's, just a month ago we were talking about this is the best team in football. And now a month later, I don't think they're threatening a lot of teams.
No, yeah, I think they definitely need to make a statement game this week.
Yeah.
And what I mean by statement is just be consistent on all three phases of the game: offense, defense, and special teams. Defensively, communicate more with each other. Stop giving up big plays.
Right.
This is the Giants. I don't really think they should be giving up big plays to the Giants. Offensively, you want to probably get A.J. Brown them and Devontae Smith going. Get Swift. Understand your running game. This is a game that you kind of need going into the playoffs. I think it's a great warm-up game, just because you can pick on different things that you did great on the last week heading into the playoffs. So I think it's a big week for Philly.
It is. I think Tyrod Taylor's starting for the New York Giants, and I mean he's a decent backup, but he hasn't had a lot of playing time this year. What I'm getting at is Philly should hold this team to under 20 points and really have a statement win here.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Some of the other games this week, I know Kansas City, they're sitting at 9-6, and I think a one-game lead on the top of the division. They have to go into Los Angeles and play the Chargers, who we know Herbert's out for the year, and their season's essentially over. Coach got fired, right? Kind of the same thing here, Steven. This is, as we're talking about Philly, we're looking for KC to have a similar dominant performance going into the playoffs. I think they need that. Nobody dropping balls. No turnovers and fumbles. That's what they're going to need to go into the playoffs and feel strong. I don't think the KC's had that in a while in the last few weeks. They've been a little off this year. And I guess what I'm saying is for them, it's very important that they go into the Chargers, to Los Angeles there at SoFi, win that game convincingly so they can take this momentum and belief into the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree with that totally. I think offensively that's what they need to work on. Receivers making the right catches, making good catches, understanding that their play affects the game in so many ways, not only with just dropping the ball and not getting a score or moving the chains, but I just think in the sense of the morale of the team right now, there's only so many times you can be positive about your team and positive about them dropping balls when it becomes irritating, especially towards the last game of the season, a team that you should win, or team you should beat. So yeah, I just think it's more offensively. These receivers need to start understanding what their job is and taking pride in their work.
Yeah, no doubt. I agree with that. Also, another big game last week of the season. We have the Buffalo Bills sitting at 10-6, going to Miami to play the Dolphins. Dolphins just lost, obviously, to the Ravens. They've already locked up a playoff. They've clinched a playoff berth. But I believe the Bills can get in if they win. Miami, this has always been a tough matchup for them. The Bills kind of been their Achilles heel. How do you see this one playing out, Steven?
I think it's a statement game more for Miami to win the division, to say like, hey, we're here. They were projected along with the Jets. The Jets was before I think Aaron Rodgers went down, but I think after he went down, everyone expected that Miami was going to take care of the division, and so for them, they need to take care of the division. They need to, like I said, make a statement with their play, with this final game heading into playoffs. But if you're the Buffalo Bills, you want to ruin that. You want to say, hey, don't forget about us.
Right.
We're here. We were, a couple plays away from, going to the AFC Championship or going to the Super Bowl. We're making strides forward. And this may be a year for them to do that, but this is going to just be a great game to see who wants it more and take that momentum going into the playoffs.
That's true. I mean, let's not forget Buffalo is a team that's pretty much owned this division the last 2 or 3 seasons. Once Brady left New England, it's been Buffalo. So, both teams have a lot of. This game is going to be about pride, definitely.
I agree.
Yeah.
Another game I look at. I don't know how you feel about it, Joey, but it's the Rams. They're going to play the Niners this week. They won, I think, 6 of their last 7 games.
They have. With the only loss being red hot.
Yeah, the only loss being against the Ravens
in overtime.
Yeah. look, I think they're coming on at the right time. Like they did for that Super Bowl run. It seemed like they just came on towards the end of the season. I think a lot of teams don't want to face them, and I agree with that right now. If you're asking me right now who I think is going to go to the Super Bowl, Niners, Ravens, without a doubt. But if you're talking about another team, I think they can make some noise is the Rams. I think they're that good enough, seeing that they're healthy in all aspects with the receivers and quarterback and everything else. I think they can really make a statement. And to me, them probably going to get a win over the Niners because Niners are probably going to rest everyone. I think that'll be great momentum for them to kind of just walk into the playoffs with that bravado, that just that confidence that they can go out there and beat anybody.
Yeah, as you said, since the bye week, they've been, they've been 6-1, only losing one game, and that's to the Baltimore Ravens. I know Cooper Kupp was banged up earlier in the year, so now that everybody's healthy, they're clicking. Their rookie running back is second only behind Christian McCaffrey in yardage this year. Kyron Williams, I believe his name is. So yeah, and Sean McVay and Matt Stafford, Super Bowl coach, Super Bowl quarterback, winning. So they're proven they know they can do it. They're winning, and I think that's definitely a team nobody really wants to face right now. Think about the Rams, people. They put up points, so you got it. These guys aren't just going to go away. This is definitely not a team to take lightly or to overlook. And in the NFC, they definitely could upset somebody. So we'll see. And especially teams that we're not so sure on, like Detroit, Dallas, Philadelphia, as we just mentioned. The only really team I feel strongly about in the NFC is San Francisco. And the only team I feel stronger than San Francisco is probably the Ravens, who just beat them. But other than that, I feel like every team's a little vulnerable. So it's just going to about, who's going to be obviously healthy, but the most prepared and consistent. And it's just going to come down to execution.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think the last game I think we're looking at is the Texans.
Oh yes, that's a good division game. Texans Colts.
Yeah, every game is a division game this week, but I think just so many games have the implications, which is totally awesome. But for this one, Joey, I just like what the Texans have done. I like what C.J. Stroud has done, the confidence this young man has come into, and just helped this team out. DeMeco Ryans. What he's been able to give the team as well, the confidence and just maybe a different voice to hear than what they've normally heard. Not really into the Colts, I'll be honest, or the Jaguars to make it to the playoffs. I'm really looking, hopefully, going for the Texans. This is my rookie of the year in C.J. Stroud, so
right.
And coach of the year, to be honest,
DeMeco Ryans.
DeMeco Ryans.
You have to forgive Steven, not the best with names.
No, I'm not. But yeah,
unless she's really pretty.
There
But yeah, this is an interesting game. All these teams are sitting at 9-7. Right, you got the Texans 9-7, Colts 9-7, Jaguars 9-7. So after the Texans, Colts are going to play each other. One of those teams have to lose unless we have a tie. Jacksonville, I think, plays Tennessee Titans, a team they should get by, but I don't know. They haven't looked too good lately. So this is a big weekend, obviously, for that division and who's going to finish number one. I tend to agree with Steven. I think it'd be a better story and more entertaining for the Rookie of the Year, C.J. Stroud, to win and get in the playoffs with the rookie head coach, DeMeco Ryans. I also think that team is pretty well-rounded as well. So, throwing only 5 interceptions this whole year, C.J. Stroud, so he's protecting the ball. We'll see what he can do this week.
Definitely. I think that's all we have for the
That's it this week, man. We're going to wrap up Week 18 next week. Come check us out because we'll be talking about playoff matchups.
Definitely.
All right.
All right.